everyone, and welcome back to the big show. I am your host, Jerk, and wow, what a crowd. Sounds like you're all doing well, and that's great to hear. You have no doubt noticed the remodeled studio with walls I can only possibly describe as sanitarium white. The past few weeks have been filled with all sorts of fun here at the Big Show HQ. We had foundation work, painting, throwing out my back, getting sick, and I recovered just in time for an atrocious heat wave that is going to scorch the Southland all for next week. But I'll tell you what, I'd do it all over again rather than play the Mikasa. But getting back into the swing of things, we have a double feature lined up for you today with a couple special guests. So let's get things started with our first one, a longtime favorite in these parts. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the legendary tier French destroyer, the Sunny Crockett to my tubs. Give it up for Kléber. Kléber, baby. Ouija thought they lobotomized it, but in fact, only the strong survive, and I don't see too many people playing this out there, and that's understandable. What with the skill floor essentially being moved well above second floor, hardware, children's wear, ladies' lingerie, to, I don't know, maybe the 13th floor? Whatever floor it is where you have mediocre AA, no smoke, short-range nuclear-tipped torps, but insane speeds and great guns. It's not newbie-friendly, but if you're the type of player that keeps a can of silver spray next to the console so you can gas up and yell, "Witness me," it is still my $1 million baby. So when you're jumping into a fuel-injected suicide machine, you're going to need a commander and compadres behind the wheel. So let's put them up on the big screen. We've got Philippe Hamburger, along with Old Bay seasoning, perfect for seafood and destroyers, and none other than the crutch himself, Gleaves, giving us those few hundred extra meters in torp range. Come on, Jerk, are you trying to tell me that a few extra 100 meters makes that much of a difference? Yes. And if you don't think it does, then have I got a video for you to watch. The saddest wowzle video you've never seen. So just trust me on this. This is my build. There are many like it, but this one is mine. If you're new to these parts and have never seen how I Kléber, well, this is going to be a pretty typical game of how I like to play it. I like to zoom in, wreck whatever destroyer is there, wreck their support, zoom out, wreck the rest of the team. Sure, things don't always go according to that plan or run so smoothly, but you gotta have a plan in this boat because you are moving so fast that the whole thinking 3 minutes ahead that I typically promote needs to be turned up to about 5 minutes ahead. But in this match, this one is definitely going to go to plan, to the tune of being 2 salvos from having a 9-kill game. And the first salvo that we're going to miss out on is right here. Should I have kept the HE loaded? Oh, but I switched to AP because I know I can Citadel the Minotaur. Shots out, and I can't blame the Alaska. That was, that was their shot. They had done 90% of the damage there, but man, oh man, that would have got us 2 crazy 8s in this game. Anyway, now that the destroyer and the cruiser are gone, I can get back on this cap here, and one of the benefits that I like about having Gleaves on here, and yes, I do not have on twist and track or perceptive or whatever it's called, is this actually allows me to torpedo battleships in reverse before I get detected, and that's simply something you cannot do without this build. Maybe if you have that perk that lowers your detection down to like 4.4 while your speed boost is active, but I can do this at any time. I don't need to wait while my speed boost is active to do it. So I'm just zooming right towards this Yamato. I'm going to get a few 100 meters to work with, drop these torpedoes off, and then turn off to the left because I'm already thinking about I got to get to the other side of the map. Speaking of the map, if we turn our attention to the mini one, we can see some fertile feeding grounds. Look at all those battleships over there, just sitting clustered up, just waiting waiting and wondering why their friendly destroyers are over on the east side of the map rather than playing any objective. Don't worry, my little lambs. The end is extremely nigh. I don't know, Jerk. You're sounding pretty cocky there. You got anything to back this up? Well, it is known in the community that I single-handedly got this destroyer nerfed. I am kidding, of course. But I actually got my stats for it just yesterday, and we can see I have about 600 matches played in this ship. 88% of all those are played solo. Now, in solo, I have a win rate of 70%, whereas in a 3-man division, it is a ridiculous 93% win rate, but that's only 15 matches. And in duos, it's a win rate of 70%, which means my division mate is not doing what division mates are supposed to do, and that is juke my stats. Now, I'm averaging 2 ships sunk per match solo, and while some of these stats are still under the influence of the pre-nerf state, one stat that I remember pre-nerf was my average XP. That is to say, before a win bonus. Prior to the nerf, that was around, I want to say 2,700, which is pretty darn high as an average XP number. Now, it is a slightly more sensible 2,300. So, has the nerf worked? Yes. Has it ruined the boat? Nope. Not in my opinion. So that is a fun and interesting insight into the info that we can use to judge a ship's performance, and a convenient way for us to gloss over the fact that I just torped an AFK battleship. But it also allows me to position myself and set up for an action-packed endgame. The red team is really starting to cluster up now, and zipping around between islands is exactly what Kléber loves to do. So I am getting to the perfect spot for this ship to really excel. Here's something to think about too. Now, we all know why Ouija nerfed this ship. It was just performing way too well, and I think many of us in the community begrudgingly knew they were right, and we all said, yes, nerf the torpedo reload time into the ground, and Ouija said, lol, no. Or nerfing the range. Keep in mind, I just torpedoed that Grozaker first back there, and my torpedoes are all ready again. So I'm going to drop these kids off at the pool for this Yamato, and I bet you guys see this maneuver that I'm going for now. I'm going to go up here, try and catch these battleships as they come around the edge, and then turn back in to the sea cap. And we will see what happens. Yep, we see a weak destroyer right there. All right, not concerned with them. Okay, that Yamato is very weak. We just need one torp connect there. Spotted as I pass through. No big deal. There goes that one. Republic's getting will to rebuild. That won't save them from torpedoes. And now we're doing our hard turn-in to get our torpedoes off on this Yamato and Republic as well. We do get hard spotted. That is by the Yugamo directly in front of me on the minimap. So we drop our kids off at the pool there. And you know what? We haven't used our reload booster here, so we might as well do it now. And things are going to start to get pretty intense right here. So this is for the Kraken, which we're going to get right now. That is the Kraken, and now we are going for the Crazy Eights if we can. There's some Torp Connects. There's the Khabarovsk. Let's get shots off on this. What's the range on the Khabarovsk Torps? 6 kilometers? I know there's stealth technology. There goes our high caliber. Oh, there's our jackpot. Let's get our guns turned around and shoot this Republic. And oh, yoink. Well, we needed about, a tenth of a second more there to yoink that Republic sitting on no health. Oh, well, we got close, but let's skip to the scoreboard. All right, let me get my reading spectacles on. We have 3,851 base XP for a very good game. Not quite a great game, but a little above the average Kléber game, and a GG to all involved. Now, I don't know about you, but after all of that, I wouldn't mind slowing things down a little bit. So let's get to the second half of this double feature. From my most played destroyer to my most played battleship, the one and only Vladivostok. First, let me put the commander and modules up on the big screen. We have a fully maxed out Kedrov with Andy Stunningham and the new guy. And please note, no will to rebuild. And while this isn't going to turn into a will to rebuild rant, it may come up because we're going to be talking solo battleship play and HE spam, because look at this lineup here. There are 5 cruisers per team. This is a rare sight, and while some battleship players may throw their hands up, bemoan the matchmaker for cursing them to a blazing hell, I saw this lineup, and even with my limited number of damage controls, thought, yeah, boy. First, let's cover my statistics in this ship. And if you're here, tell me down in the comments if you like hearing these stats, because if you do, we could include them in the future, and I'll have the graphics department whip something up that's visual rather than me reciting them. And if you don't, I just won't do it anymore. I think it could be useful in judging how I play a ship, and personally, I'm a data nerd. The meta in meta jerk was taken from metadata many moons ago. Anyway, performance stats for this ship. Just about 900 matches played, 70% of which are solo, with a solo win rate of 67%, which is on the high end for me with battleships, along with a 74% win rate in duos and an 84% in trios, with an average solo base XP. Again, this is with no modifiers of 1,661, which kind of goes to show how ridiculous it is for some of those ships with average XPs in the mid 2000s. If you're a newer player, or a long-term player, or a Catholic, or any other religion that believes in suffering, then playing a battleship solo in this game is as close as going to church as you can get. It is pain. It is pure pain. Not only are you in the biggest, slowest ship, you also pay the most in restocking fees and have the least ability to earn a lot of XP, so you're paying a pretty penny to just suffer. And what does all of that get you? Torpedoed by some destroyer you can't see, burnt down by some ships hiding behind an island, or smashed by some battleship that's caught your broadside because the rest of your team has fled to the other side of the map. What is a battleship player to do? Just traverse? No, that's only going to prolong the inevitable. Turn away and run? Nah, same thing. What about play the game the way it should be played and just hope your teammates don't do the above? Well, that's how I like to do it, and that's one of the reasons I love this ship so much. It is a tank. It can take an absolute beating, and it keeps on ticking. Successful positioning in Vladivostok is pretty easy to achieve, too. You get into an area where you can control where the fire comes from at you, you tank damage, and then you smash everything that you see. But there is a time in every battleship player's life when they must realize you can't just sit there. If you want to win, you're going to have to do it all. And here are some signs that you can use in the future to recognize when that is happening. I have talked in the past about the matches happening in 3 acts. First act is winning your spawn, that's about the first 5 minutes. Then the mid-game is securing a second cap, that is about the second 5 minutes. And the in-game, however long that should be, is just cleaning up the garbage. Now we're coming up to 5 minutes played in this match, and while we are securing this cap slowly, if you turn your attention to the minimap, we can see our team has completely abandoned the center cap, which I always strongly discourage, and in this case, they gave it up to a York that's just sitting on the corner of the island, and are mostly all turning this way. And on the east of the map, we have a destroyer checking out some resort hotels in the south of the map. I have no idea why, but seeing all of this unfold, this is when it's time for me to start to do something. And doing something in a battleship, well, that can take some time. You've got to make turns. You see me doing a T-Bull impression right there. You can see I am realizing, hey, we have to get over to B. We've got to make turns. We've got to get our outboard motors going to gain some speed. But in this case, what I'm trying to do to counter my team's bad play, and I'm not saying they're bad players, but the play that they are doing is bad, and that is sending 2/3 of the team that spawned in the center this way. Their help is not needed, and if they are in fact trying to help, which is questionable, they are in fact hurting us because they're giving up crossfires and ceding ground to the red team to do nothing. Clearly, they aren't about to turn around and head back to B, but since I recognize it needs to be done, I will do it myself right after removing that York that was scaring everybody so much. So I have to do it, even if I am something the size of a small country. You may have noticed that I've been set on fire a few times, and I haven't used any of my limited damage controls yet. Myself, personally, I prefer to save those for the second half of the game, or once I've used about half of my heals. Thanks to Fight Fire with Fire, the damage these fires do is reduced by 20% already. So is it a pain? Sure, but I can heal it back, and when or if we sink a few more red ships, then having all of these damage controls for later in the game when I need them more will become more important. And with that, I say arrivederci to the blue team. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Now, your mother no doubt told you that looks can be deceiving and to never judge a book by its cover, because at first blush it may appear that we're not doing too bad. We are, in fact, up on ships. We have 2 destroyers to their 1, which is that Kléber that is spotted in front of us, but everything you need to know is on the minimap. Our remaining ships in the east appear to have 0 interest in trying to flip any caps. Our ships in the west are all bottled up in one spot and will be cannon fodder to the red team, which is actually fairly spaced out. So I need to try and do the impossible, which is to flip B in a battleship that will be constantly spotted, or at least stop the point accrual and try and make the red team react to the big bad battleship over here in the middle. And in that span alone, we went from being up 7-6 to now down 4-6. So not getting hit by this Brandenburg secondaries is going to be difficult. Do they even have a secondary build? And not having anyone to be able to scan for torps from the Kléber in front of me is a big issue as well. I can't let the red team flip A, but I also still need to cap B. And with only 7 minutes left in the match, we're about to enter the late game. And knowing that we're down about 300 points, look, there comes the fire to reset me. I need to start thinking about sinking the entire red team, but not before we get a shot off at the Kléber. Hit them very well. Rear turret of justice. If we could sink this, that changed the game entirely, but we don't. So yeah, I'm concerned that there are torps on the way now, so I have to reverse to a spot where they are unable to hit me. And in doing so, I am looking at what's happening at A, and I'm seeing that the Wichita is chasing down our battleship, which is looking like it is not going to do too well, the Zeton. So I'm parking myself here to catch the broadside of the Wichita, and you know how I feel about goddamn Wichitas. Even these new ones, right? They still get to enjoy the underwater, very skinny citadel, so, well, it's not impossible to hit it. It's pretty difficult. I aim slightly into the water there, and even still, 1 penetration, 4 overpins. And I'm trying to keep reversing here, but I don't want to go too far, or I won't have a shot on this Wichita anymore, so we hit the brakes. We're going back forward, and maybe I will be able to finish them this time. But as you know, goddamn Wichitas, especially now that I have some angle, maybe we'll get some more pins. Well, we get 3 pins and 1 ricochet, so that did a little damage, but at this point, the Wichita should really be shooting AP at me right now. They would potentially be doing some damage, but, you know, Wichita player is gonna Wichita, just gonna spam HE either way. Yeah, you are not going to be able to bow tank this, and that's going to take care of the Wichita. So we still have A. Now I can get back onto B, and start thinking about how we can still win this game, because we are still down 340 points. However, that Piotr Bagration, they won't be able to see me much longer. Something's firing HE spam at me from this side, and this is where I'm holding on to all my damage cons. This is what I'm holding on to it for, because there's going to come points now where I need to start putting fires out quickly. Alright, we have to talk evasive maneuvers. We are spotted by a plane, and we know the destroyer is on the north side of this map, so we have to do some unexpected starts and stops. There is going to be a double fire that I'm probably going to put out pretty soon. I'm trying to fire the Helena. There it is. And no, still can't get it. Just 3 more overpins. And we go ahead and stop there because we get the feeling that there are torpedoes. There they are. It is both racks. So at that point, it's go time. We don't have to worry about anything. We've also known that this destroyer has been willing to shoot their guns, and there they are. So priorities here. If we sink the Kagero, this may be a win. And maybe we can get a double strike. There goes the Kagero. Rear turret of justice. No dice. Go ahead and use another damage con right there. Actually, I think that was the first one because we waited until the torpedoes were gone. At this point, I'm getting low, but it's not too bad. We've got the 2 front turrets here for the Helena. Surely we can hit them this time. Of course, we get another fire set on us. Why wouldn't we? But that's what we have these fast-acting damage controls for. And our rear turret of justice, will it finally come through? Yes, and there it is. That is the Kraken, and we are on fire, and it's a good thing I saved these damage controls because I'm going to be able to put this out. And I'm going to look over my shoulder and see what is just transpiring down here at the bottom of the map. Alright, it looks like they got that Zeton on fire, and that is going to end up securing this one for us. And didn't I mention I threw out my back a week ago? Guys, it's not ready for this kind of lifting. Let's see this scoreboard. 2,568 XP for a good game. About average for the Vladivostok for me. And Jiminy Christmas, talk about attempts to throw. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. GG to everyone involved, and that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you found it all worth the wait, then go ahead and give this video a like. If you could wait for eternity, give it a dislike. Questions, comments, thoughts on including stats, leave them down below. And if you want to be there for when the next double feature drops, maybe even this year, think about hitting subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there for another one, and we will talk then.